I don't know why they are joining and then leaving.
Nice, first year. So, how long is an undergraduate degree in Macedonia?
It's like we have, 3 years. I don't
Oh,
know whether
nice.
it will be considered in other countries like in UK or no. Like
It
bachelor's
will be
are.
considered. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
Okay, okay, that's great. Because we are a bit worried, like basically I told you I am from Pakistan and we have 4 years. Also in India, also like we have 4 years undergraduate, but
Yeah.
here it's like 3 years. So like we are a bit concerned about the future because maybe it will cause trouble for master.
No, 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 definitely not. So, over here in England, so London, Manchester, Leeds, Bath, whatever, over there it's also 3 years. But in Scotland, it is 4 years. So, undergraduate is still 3 years in England, but 4 years in Scotland. So,
Yeah,
you'll be fine if you want to move here for a master's.
yeah, that's great. Like that's great. Okay, okay, great, Arthyan. So you are also student in ATSU. Okay, great. So yeah, so should we start or no?
Yeah, I can share my screen.
Okay, but like I also have small presentation. I want that, like I'll do and then like
Okay, sounds
because
good.
you are, I can say that you are more expert than me because you have been to like JP Morgan chess, which is something really big, especially for me. Like, so I think you should start a little bit, like later because I will tell the students, about like what's happening and then you will present. Okay.
Of course, whatever you want.
Okay. Thank you so much. So yeah, so good afternoon everyone, and I hope you all are doing well. So today we have a webinar on targeting big tech companies, and we have Ishita. So like I will tell about her in detail in later. Like I have some presentation, and she will also like tell you about herself and her experience and her journey to JP Morgan twice as an intern, which is something really big. So yeah, that's all for today. So so let's start. Let me share my screen. Okay, just wait. Mm, okay, so yeah. Mm, just- we are new to this baby platform, so it's a bit hard.
It's definitely very confusing, don't
Yeah,
worry.
exactly. Okay, now it's okay. Yeah. So just let me know if my screen is visible to you guys.
I can see your screen.
Okay, that's great. So yeah, so hello everyone. So today we have a webinar on targeting big tech companies. So yeah, my presentation is not that much big because it's like I just want to give like the outline of this whole webinar. The rest of the things like Ishita will tell you in detail. So yeah, let's see what we'll have. Okay, so today, we have a webinar, so it's a small agenda. So, we have various topics, and what I believe is, like this will be the agenda because we are discussing, like targeting big tech companies, and there's a small introduction to our speaker, like, and what will be the process because, I have like chosen like what will be the ideal process, although it's not that much ideal, but the journal process, like for targeting big tech companies. And apart from that, there will be some queries if you want to ask like related me or related this whole event, you can ask me, and after that we will move to like Ishita. She will like tell you each and everything in detail. So yeah, like this is a small introduction. So basically Ishita is like she's studying at University of Glasgow, it's in UK, and she has been like two-time intern at JP Morgan Chase. So like it's something really amazing, and I believe that like it will be like this webinar will be very fruitful for you guys because JP Morgan is like very famous because of like its service it is providing. So yeah, that I can say that today webinar will be very fruitful for you all. Okay, so this process, this whole journey, it's like a challenging goal, and for that we need some process, we need to go through some process. And what I believe is, I have shared a small process that if you guys, you want to go to like big tech companies, what should be the process, what should be the, the roadmap for you. So the first thing, you should know is you must know yourself. You must know that, do you really want to go to big tech companies? Do you really want to go to, like product based companies like Google, Microsoft, Amazon? If yes, then decide what concept do you need, like what are the things do you need. As for like, I know that, like you must have some good knowledge, in algorithm and data structure if you want to go to, big tech companies, because they are mostly, like focusing on these things, especially during the interviews. And after that, if you have some good, like knowledge in these GSA and other things, then you should be disciplined and consistent to yourself. How can you be disciplined and consistent, like practicing things, doing projects and making your resume strong. Because if you are a CS student, everyone will ask you like how much you have contributed to the open source. And I think that's very important, like for everyone. So you must contribute to open source, you must do projects and like put them on your GitHub. And then yeah, you apply for the opportunities, in big tech companies. Because this will be like, although this is not the ideal path I'm saying, but this will be like generally a path, if you are going for a big tech companies, because this process is like very competitive. So now, if you have any queries, just let me know, or you can write like in the QA section there. And apart from that, because my this presentation is not that much big, because we have, experience, like our speaker is here, so I don't want to take too much time, so I'm making this, like short and like easy. So yeah, this is our website, you can check, like our website, and we have a lot of webinar for you guys, because the GDSE is new to this university, and it's hard like to do things, but we are like doing our best to creating webinars, to creating opportunities for you guys, so that you can join and you can see in what field or what particular department you are good. So yeah, so and apart from that, yeah, so we don't have anything. So let me just end, my screen sharing. So thank you so much, and let's move to, like our speaker, because I think I am very interested to hear her story, because she is like, she's an, we can say, an example for us, because to be honest, she has been to like JP Morgan twice, and when I'm listening this, like I'm totally like, like appreciating her like for doing this wonderful. So yeah, that's all from my side. So over to you, Ishita.
Thank you so much for that very warm introduction. And hopefully, my presentation would be helpful to everyone. So let me just share. Can you see my screen?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. We can see your screen. It's
Perfect.
visible.
So, we're going to be talking about targeting big tech companies and mostly about the UK tech industry because I'm originally from India, but I'm, been studying and working in the UK. So, this is all of my experience as an international student in the UK. So, if any one of you, are thinking of doing your master's in UK or want to move here for a job, an internship, a placement, or whatever, I hope this will help you. So, very brief introduction about me. Hello, everyone. It's really good to see you. I'm Ishita. I'm passionate about product, people, and community. I'm interested in web development and generative AI. Other than that, I am the GDSC lead for University of Glasgow. I'm a Google Women Tech Maker Ambassador. I'm part of the Google Developer Groups Glasgow, and I'm a postgraduate computer science student at the University of Glasgow as well. So, in this talk, which I think hopefully should not be very long, we'll dive into firstly my journey in tech so that I can give you more context about how I learned from my experiences since 2021, cracking the code. So, through all my experiences, I've sort of found out there are very specific skills and knowledge that tech companies are looking for, some resources that help me get to internships and every other experience I've had, and a little bit about the CV and what kind of CV companies here appreciate. So, looking into my journey, I started in the summer of 2021, which was just after first year. I did the Bright Network virtual internship experience, which was completely free. Anyone can do it. What happens is it's a 2 day long program online where companies come, they host workshops on Internet of Things, AI, machine learning, web, cloud, just to help students understand what the tech industry actually looks like. You will have two different challenges to do over there. If you want to practice any of the tech skills, you can meet recruiters, you can meet other students interested in technology as well. And as a student, I think it is so frequent that we have a CV but not a lot to show on it, because how to get work experience without any work experience. So finding virtual internship experiences like this is a good place to start if you're looking to do something in the summer. I also did the Meta Women in EMEA hackathon. So this was the recruiter reached out to me on LinkedIn, and we were separated in teams, did a coding challenge, and that was my hackathon experience, first ever hackathon, which was nice. We didn't win, but the experience and the learnings from that is what counts. Moving on to spring and summer 2022, which was last year, as Fayaz mentioned, I did a summer internship at JP Morgan, a software engineering one. But other than that, and before that, I did the Spring Insight Weeks at Amazon, American Express, and JP Morgan. So I will dive more into what Spring Weeks are, but they're essentially programs that are 1 or 2 days long, either virtually or in office now, because everyone's going back to office, where you get to meet the recruiter, get to meet senior leadership of big companies, see what kind of products that they're working on, see what the life of a software engineer looks like, what your career progression can look like, what kind of projects they work on, what technologies they use, what activities they have. And it's also a good opportunity for the company to get to know you, as all these big companies, they're really looking for junior talent. So there are many talented students out there, and programs like these are also essential for companies to find that talent. So I did those Insight Weeks. I did the summer internship program, and at the same time, I was doing the Google Associate Product Management program, which is like a mentorship program that happened for over the course of 6 months. Because when you're talking about technology, there's a lot you can do. You could be a software engineer, you could be a game developer, you can be a product manager, a data analyst. There's so many different things to choose. You could be a cloud architect. Doing different programs like these, even if it's online, free, virtual, getting mentorship programs could really help you understand what you like. Because applying to big companies is one thing, and the prestige of that is one thing, but you need to first decide, as Fayaz said, is this something I want to do? So to answer those questions, these are the kind of programs that would be really helpful. And then this summer, I did a second internship at JP Morgan and got, affiliated as a role model at Next Tech Girls, which is basically like a nonprofit organization where young students, young women in schools get work experience opportunities in the UK. And this is also the year I became the GDSC lead and Women Tech Maker ambassador. So, diving right into it, cracking the code. What are tech companies looking for in students? This seems like a lot, but if you can demonstrate parts of all of these things, you are easily ahead of the rest of the crowd. So, one is obviously technical proficiency in the most three common languages I can think of is Python, Java, and JavaScript, because any company you go to will be using one of these three languages, regardless of what team you're going into, back end, front end, cloud, etc. You need to also show problem solving and critical thinking skills. So many times in interviews or just approaching question answers or speaking to recruiters, they rarely care about if you got the answer right. They want to think more. They want to for you to show if you can think about getting the right answer, if you can take what's your thought process. If you see a question, how do you approach it? So those problem solving skills are essentially very important. Any projects and work experience, technical or non-technical, once again, as Fayaz mentioned, open source contributions, having projects, group projects you do in university, things you have worked on with your friends, any personal passion projects that you have, technical or non-technical, you need to be able to talk about it, show what motivation you had, how you executed it, what you did, what was the outcome. It's okay if it was a pass or a fail. recruiters will mostly not care about if your project was super successful. It's more about how you approached it and what you learned from it, and to have the ability to think about the project more than just this is the input and that was the output. You also need strong communication skills. Can you put your ideas into words? Can you express your thoughts? Can you express your emotions and your challenges and find issues that others can't find? One example of this is the Amazon star method. So the star method is actually an interview technique that every company, they would not say that they're looking for that, but this is how, if you answer a question, that would be great. So star is situation, task, action, and result. So any question that an interviewer asks you or a recruiter asks you, you can break it down into what the situation was, what was the task that you had to do, what was the action that you did to fulfill that task, and what was the result. So this shows an end-to-end blocked complete answer where you've done start to end thinking, you've shown your communication, you've shown your problem solving, and you've given a good answer as well. Moving on to collaboration and teamwork experiences. Technology is a sector that relies heavily on working with people, relying on people, working with different teams. So, can you show that you can be collaborative? Can you be adaptable? Can your team rely on you? Have you worked in a team before? Can you navigate with team dynamics? How are you with other people is also a very essential skill. To have a continuous learning attitude. Once again, technology is not a field that is the same over every year. There's always new languages, libraries, innovations coming up. The last year has been a great example for how AI has been booming so big. So if you have a learning attitude, if you can show curiosity, companies really like that as well. Initiative to take leadership. Do you like to follow orders? Do you like to execute new ideas? Leadership can look like a lot of things. Leadership can look like you taking ownership of your own product, of your own project, or it can look like leading other people to make three or multiple people work together. So it can be as small and as big, but can you lead? Can you take initiative? Staying informed about industry trends and the company. This is more important for you to find out what you like, but also if you're interviewing at a company, it tells the recruiters that you've actually done your research and that you're thinking about that company in a serious way instead of just randomly applying. So that is usually a good sign as well, because I know as students, we are bound to apply to multiple jobs, multiple internships, use the same CV for that, use the same kind of answers for that. But making your application and making your communication very specific to the company that you're talking to really ensures that it makes you stand outside from the crowd. It makes people think that you are interested in their company, you know what you're talking about, and you really want to be there. Finally, networking and soft skills. You don't have to be an extrovert. You don't have to, this does not mean that you should be able to go into any party and be the life of the party. All it means is that, do you know how to speak to people, how to be formal, how to be respectful, asking the right kind of questions, showing respect. And networking also goes beyond just you know finding out what people like to do or what people are doing in their job. It gives them an opportunity to find who you are as well, so that they can open the doors for you. To break it down into some questions, because those were a lot of things to keep in mind, you can start by thinking, have you ever participated in a hackathon, in a group project? Have you done a personal project outside of your degree? Have you volunteered? Have you done any sort of activities that are helpful for your career or just your soft skills development? Like attending events like this one also counts as one, because you've taken the time out on a Sunday evening to really find out how to get an internship and learn more about career development. Next thing you can think about is, are you genuinely passionate about technology or any specific tech domain? Do you like cloud? Do you like mobile? Do you like AI, web development? What is it? Do you like games? What is it that you enjoy within technology? Because that will also help you narrow down the companies you want to work at or the roles that you want to look at. the industry of the company that you're looking to work at as well. So even though I did a software engineering internship both times at JP Morgan, JP Morgan's financial services company, so they're in the financial services industry, and even though every company uses a lot of technology, you need to think about whether that industry interests you or not. Because Google, for example, they're into media and entertainment. They're a technology, but media and entertainment company as well. So Google has a bunch of different products, but JP Morgan, all of their products are mostly financial services based. So unless you really like finance or, investment banking, asset and wealth management, you like things like that, maybe don't go into something that you're not interested in, because technology is something that every company and every industry would need it. So really think about that. Uh, Lastly, are you curious, adaptable? Are you reliable? Are you reflective? And do you have quick thinking? So really think about these skills, because once you ask yourself these questions, the skills that are mentioned here, you will find out whether you've got it, or you need to work a little more to develop those skills. Because once you've got this, you will stand out from the crowd and get the opportunity that you want, whether it's in a big company or in a startup. You will get the opportunities. Moving on to, what does a typical work experience look like in technology? And this is mostly only for students who are doing bachelor's degree. There's more programs that are there for people who have graduated, who are done their masters, other routes such as apprenticeships. But since everyone's in Europe over there, I will just stick to these two. So there's something called Spring Week and Inside Programs, which is generally open to first and second year students. It happens around February, March time, or like Feb to April time. You can get to know more about the company and the career progression you can have. It's like an open day of a university where you just go to that company, speak to their people, find out what they do. They get to find out what you do. And then if you like it, then you can be fast tracked to a final round of assessment for doing an internship or joining as a graduate next year. Whereas a summer internship is basically 9 to 12 weeks, or 6 to 12 months for a placement here. And you will be assigned to an actual team working on a real product that will be, given to the customers based on your technology preference. And you'll work on an internship project that you will show at the end of, your internship. You might have more interns in your team, or you might be the only one. But there's a manager, you will have a buddy who will look after you, who will help you find out different resources. There's a lots of onboarding, there's lots of learning that happens. So it's not like you go in on your first day and then you start building a project until the last day. There's also a lot of different networking events and learning sessions from seniors. So right from good software practices, what technology looks like, there's diversity based events, multiple opportunities for you to meet your community and make more friends or build your network at work. I've actually written an article about this on Nestwork, and this is the URL that I've put over here. Hopefully, you can see it, but if not, I will paste a link in the chat after I'm done with the talk. Oh, in this article, I've written about my whole entire application process, how I prepared for the interview, what challenges I faced, what lessons I learned, and how I secured the internship. It's a pretty long article, and I've written down exactly what I did. And this was not only for JP Morgan, because when I was applying to any company that would take interns. So I've interviewed for a lot of companies, and that's taught me a lot of things. And it's in this article over there. But, what the typical application process looks like for the UK, your first step, which is going on right now, is that you would see a job on LinkedIn or on Indeed or on the company's profile website, and you will send an online application with a CV and a cover letter, which is good. After that, you will have a coding assessment that is either on HackerRank or Codility. Most companies will send it on these two platforms. This coding assessment would likely be from 30 minutes to 1 hour on and question based on algorithms and data structure. So in this as well, they don't really want you to score 100%. That they're not expecting that of you, as long as you've written proper pseudocode, or if you've written good code that's passing all the tests, that's executable, that's efficient, you will pass on to the next round, 100%. The next round is the virtual interview with pre-recorded questions. Most companies do this, but some don't. So the larger the company that you're applying for, so all the big banks, all the big tech companies, they usually have this process where it's basically pre-recorded behavioral questions. So tell me a little bit about yourself, or tell me about a time that you failed. Why are you interested to work in this company? So these are questions that require a lot of quick thinking because you don't know what the questions are going to be, and they give you about 1 to 3 minutes of preparation and then 1 to 3 minutes of actual answering. So this is another time where having background knowledge about the company would be really helpful because you can tie that knowledge with your own experience and answer as naturally as possible. The final stage of all interviews would be to either 45-minute or 60-minute technical and behavioral interviews, which is also called an assessment center. So, in this final round, you will talk to an actual hiring manager or a senior, like a vice president technologist at the company. They will ask you, either two or three algorithm and data structure based questions. In this as well, as I mentioned before, they are not looking to get the right answer exactly when they asked for it. It's more about your thought process, how you approach the question. So you see the question, if you're asking any clarifying questions, the way you're thinking about edge cases, the way you're thinking about efficiency. If you're asking the interviewer further questions like how do if you're taking help from them, that's completely fine. That's what the technical interview looks like. And then in the behavioral interview, it's more questions about your own experience. So if you worked in a group project, they will say, tell me about the time where you had to receive harsh feedback. So this question can also, make you feel put on the spot, and it can make you feel a little embarrassed because it's not something that, you talk about every day. But they will usually ask challenging questions like these to see what you have learned from it and if you can be truthful and honest about it. If you can demonstrate all these skills in one interview application for an internship, then that will give you a secured offer. So this is, obviously looks like a lot, but every time you're applying for a job or every time you cross one level in any company or any application, treat every single stage as a learning opportunity. Don't think of it as all or none. When you think of it as, okay, I have to crack this, you will get more nervous. You will put all, your focus and energy on this one thing. And then being too much stressed can actually help you perform worse than you would think. But then if you take this as a learning opportunity, because that's actually what I did before my first internship, I was like, what's the worst case? I'm just going to do this experience. If it goes well, that's great, but if it doesn't go well, I will learn what I have to do better next time, because experience is really the greatest teacher and things like this. And all of these stages are also very time sensitive, so it's all happening very, in the moment. There's no breaks, there's no buffer, no gaps. So treat this all as a learning experience. Moving on to my current CV, because Fayaz said it would be a great idea for, to show people what are the kind of CVs that would get an internship. This is just my CV. There's a lot of different templates online, but I will just go through the overall structure and not the content. So you should start with a summary, a 2 sentence summary of who are you and what are you looking for. So it is said that an average recruiter would only look at a CV for about 10 to 15 seconds. So they're really only going through the top level to see if there are any highlights and keywords and things like that. So if you're writing too much information, it's going to really get lost because the recruiter is not going to have that much time to read every single word that's written on your CV. So, moving on to if you've got any experience. Once again, as I said, the challenge is to get work experience. Companies usually require some kind of experience, but this doesn't have to be a paid internship or an actual, work in software or in technology. You can write about any hackathons you've done, insight programs, if you've done any mentorship programs, if you're part of any societies as leadership, if you're the president, vice president, secretary, treasurer, outreach, engagement officer, welfare officer, anything, if you're part of a society in any form of leadership, that is something you can write down. You can talk about how many people you led, how many events you put up, what's the impact you had, how many students that you reached, and so on. Moving on to your actual education, since you're students, it's important to talk about what degree you're on, when you're graduating, and if you've had any relevant coursework. So, if you've done algorithms and data structure at university, write that down. If you've done any projects in web development, if you've made a website, write it down. Are you any part of any society like GDSC as a member? Like, write that down because that will show engagement. That will show the recruiter, okay, you're building up the skills to be a software developer. You're gaining the technical skills in your studies, and while you're doing that, you're also participating in extracurriculars like attending this talk, which will help you be more prepared. Moving on, next is technical skills. What are the technical languages that you know or that you have worked with? So Python, Java, JavaScript, React, SQL, Node.js, Spring, whatever it is. If it's mobile, web, cloud, doesn't matter. If you've worked with it, you should write it down. But be careful, because if you write too many random languages down and if the interviewer asks you about it and if you don't know, that can actually be more harmful. So even if you just have three languages that you've worked with, please write that down. And if you've used any tools, so Microsoft Suite, if you've used Confluence, if you used GitHub, if you use Tableau, Excel, anything, you should also write that down, because a lot of these companies use these applications at their work and they want to know if you do. Do you have any certifications? Have you done any online courses before? If you have, write it down. Just have a small link with your, certification ID. Don't attach pictures, emojis, too many hyperlinks, because the recruiter is not actually going to open it. And if you add that, it will actually be distracting for them to see. Lastly, use a lot of action words. So instead of saying, I did this, just saying, you did that, you developed, or you spearheaded, or you just action words to show what you did and talk more about you. So instead of saying, ended up working on this, or my team did this, what was your contribution over there? What's the impact that you have? Add a lot of numbers. So, in a team of how many did you work? How many weeks did you work for? How many people used your product? And numbers like that. And be authentic. If you have any further interests that are not related to tech or not related to the industry that you're going into, try that down. The recruiter wants to get to know you more as a person as well, because chances are most people applying for the job that you're applying for will have a CV that looks very similar to yours. So they are also studying computer science. They're also likely in first or second year. If you've done a course, chances are they've done the same course at university. So to stand out, you really need to add your own authentic element in your CV. And remember, not more than one page. Avoid things like tables, columns, colors, images, emojis, and anything that would not be, that would not pass a text editor, because that's the first stage of an application, is going through an application tracking system. So if that ATS will not actually read the information that you've written, your CV won't even go to an actual recruiter. So to avoid all of that, keep it as plain and simple as possible. Really think of it as a computer reading your CV to see all the words can be read, and so that your actual talent can be progressed into the application process. These are some recommended sources I have for interview preparation and job search or referral and finding recruiters. So for interview prep, everyone on online is going to say this, and I'm also going to say that lead code is your website. So most interview questions would be either lead code medium or lead code hard, algorithm data style, data structure style questions. There is something called Blind 75, which is a list of 75 questions that most big companies use. It's a lead code premium feature, but you can find on GitHub that people have put the list of those questions there. HackerRank. HackerRank is an interviewing tool, but HackerRank also helps you practice questions like that in an actual environment. So you can practice questions that you might get in an interview in the same platform. So you can be more familiar with it, more comfortable with the UI, etc. There's also Interview Cake. Interview Cake was made by Meta, I think, and it's got real questions put by real software engineers at big companies. It's free with the GitHub Student Developer Pack. Interviewing IO and Tech Mock Interview are great resources if you want to find someone to do mock interviews with online. So people volunteer at big companies and even students who have done internship to have anonymous or informal mock interviews to get people prepared for actual interviews. There are a certain limit on how many free ones you can do, but you can also pay for it. But I feel like all these resources have things that you can access for free without actually paying. In terms of actual job search, LinkedIn or the company careers website is your best bet. You can have search alerts on to see for specific role, location, what kind of experience, if you want it full time, part time, if you want it remote or on location. You can have alerts, and every time there's a new job, you will be notified. And if you're actually looking at the company careers portal, that's the first place you would see if the job has been published so that you can apply for it. But websites like Glassdoor and Medium also help you find people who work at those companies, who give you insights into salaries or what the culture is like or what the interview is like. So you know what to expect and what people in the same shoes as you are expecting. Or if someone got an internship just last summer, they've put their experience over there and you will know what to expect and if you still want to do it. Blind is a relatively new mobile application that allows people with a work email ID or like an education email ID to read people's experience anonymously. So, to actually find out the tech culture, with all the layoffs and everything happening, what are companies doing, what the company is looking like, what's the compensation for the role you're looking for, what kind of jobs are opening up, to get referrals for jobs. That is a good site as well. Twitter, surprisingly, or X as they now call it, is also a good resource to get in touch with people, to find a technology community, to find people working in those companies that you want to work at, and ask them for a simple referral. Because more often than not, I would say 8 out of 10 times, if you reach out to someone, with a brief 3 sentence paragraph with who you are, what your experience is, and what you're seeking, if you send that with your CV to that person, they will reach out to you and offer you help and offer you a referral, because people love referring early talent into the big companies. So don't be scared of reaching out to people, because worst case, they're not going to respond, but best case, they might refer you and increase your chances of getting hired. Any questions? Thank you for attending this event and listening to me. And, thank you, Fayaz, as well. And I'm happy to take any questions now.
I think, well, do they have questions or no? So actually, I have one question. You mentioned like Bright Network virtual internship experience. So I want to ask about this. Is it like it's virtual, right? Or
Yes.
it's free, or it's like we have to pay for the internship?
No, no, no. So it's completely free, and big companies like Bloomberg, Google, Ernst and Young, showed up over there. They all held sessions on what an internship looks like, what would you do on machine learning. Google even gave a challenge on making, a YouTube simulator in the command line. So it's completely free, and it gives you experience to put on your application. And if because you're meeting actual recruiters, they will remember you if you tell them, oh yeah, hi, I attended this event and this is where I spoke to you. So the recruiter will remember you like that.
Okay, great. So one more question I have, like, you mentioned about the languages that we need to be like proficient. Like in our university, basically what we are reading, in undergraduate, we have C++, plus plus, right?
Mm-hmm.
We have JavaScript, but not that much in depth. Like we have to do all the things by ourselves. But the faculty, they teach us like C++. plus plus. So is that okay? I mean, like,
C++
if we,
is also a strong language. So I should have mentioned over there. So Python, Java, JavaScript, C, C++, they're completely fine. They're all leading languages, and every company will be using them.
okay, great. So yeah, if anyone have some question, just let us know. So we have a question, and Dipali is saying, how to keep motivated and focused when so many things are going around in university life. So,
I think one thing to keep in mind over here is that everyone is in the same position as you, and all you should do is focus on your own goal, what you want, not compare your journey with anyone else's, because you might think, okay, I'm applying to so many jobs, not hearing back, but my friend or this course mate, they're getting all these, interviews, and they seem to be doing so much better than me. But that is usually almost never the case because nobody's showing their struggles to you.
okay.
And as you are not showing your struggles to anybody else. So, one thing to motivate as well is really just apply to companies where you're truly interested. So, I'm personally not interested in hedge funds or trading. So, I did not apply to companies like that because I knew that I wouldn't be motivated enough or I can't truly demonstrate skills in, being a quant analyst or a quant researcher. But somewhere like Google or somewhere like JP Morgan, where it was more corporate banking, more asset and wealth management, I was like, that is a part of finance that I actually enjoy. So, yeah.
So, okay, so we have one more question from Artian. So he's saying, should a new programmer focus in learning native development or cross platform? So, like, how would you respond to his question? Like,
That is actually a good question. I wouldn't say one is better than the other, but I would say cross-platform makes you, a jack of all trades. It makes you easily your skills are a lot more transferable. So that is one thing. But then whenever you do enter a company, as long as you know algorithmic foundations, the logic behind writing or the logic behind a programming language, it's more than fine because learning the actual language is just learning syntax. But if you know the logic behind computing, then you can easily pick up any language. And that's what most people at companies would also do. They will actually train you and teach you a language because companies like Bloomberg have their own coding languages that you don't actually see outside in the real world. So as it doesn't really matter, you should do what you're passionate and interested in, and the skills that you will gain from those languages will be easily transferable.
yeah, exactly, exactly. So yeah, let's wait if someone have some question. Then we have a small activity in the end. So just see.
How to prepare for a hacker rank? So, just doing algorithms and data structure questions, looking at time complexity, space complexity, efficiency, seeing the edge cases, how you can, if there's anything you can add on to the question, if you can make it more efficient, if you could, what kind of real life applications would it have? Just thinking more than just the question itself.
So yeah, I think there are no questions. So thank you so much, Ishita, and what an amazing journey. Just we love, like, everything that you share, like all the resources and all the platforms that you have been like using, in your career. So like it was wonderful, to having you. And
Thank you so
so
much.
we have a small activity, for all of our attendees. So it's like a Kahoot, activity. It's related to IT, so it's a small quiz. So let's do it. Let me share my screen and so that just do it. Okay. So, first of all, before doing this, I want to tell you guys that, I think you are familiar with Kahoot, and if you don't know, just go to this website. Yeah, just go to kahoot.com and I will share, the pin. Just put the pin so that, you will enter in the activity. We have 13 questions. These are like mostly, MCQs and quizzes like that. So, yeah, just so let's start. So, instead of username or nickname, it would be better if you write your name because that's how, we will know who is the winner of the quiz. And yeah, you can also join. You can also play, Ishita.
Thank you.
Yeah, just wait. Let me set up everything. Okay, so yeah, we are getting ready to, to get the pin. So yeah, this is the pin. Just add the pin so that you will enter and then we will start.
I can't actually see the pin.
Okay, okay. It's like, wait, just, my screen is like, yeah, now, I think now it's visible.
Yes, now it's visible.
Okay, great. So yes, guys, just put the pin and you will be enter, then we will start. Because we also have just 10 minutes left, after that we will finish this webinar. So yeah, okay, great. So we have, Ishita is here and I'm waiting for you guys. Just go to, Kahoot and like enter this code, this game pin, and then you will be enter. Okay, great. We have the Noza also. Maria, great. Jabin. Okay, I'm waiting for some other. Okay, Artian is also here. Sophia. Okay, just few people left, and then we'll start. Okay, Taj is also here. So who is not here? Just let me see. Okay, so Aziza, just open, like Kahoot.com and enter the pin. Just go to, like Chrome or any other browser. Then you will start. Uh, if you are facing some trouble, just let us know because just go to, Kahoot.com. That I've already, put the website. Like, chat box. Just go there and enter the game pin so that you will be entered. The student like your story. They are appreciating, Ishita.
Thank you.
Aziza, please, can you confirm us? Can you just go to, kahoot.com and enter the pin so that you will enter? Because we have just 7 minutes and we have to do this like before it ends. So
I think maybe we can start for everyone else who is on the call.
yeah, I think okay. So yeah, we'll start. Yeah, okay, great. So yeah, let's start. Let's see. So the game, like the question will be shown in my browser, and the answer will be in like in your computer or in your mobile phone. So like this is the first question: what company made the first handheld mobile phone? And these are the options. And you have to just pick like one and just put in your how can I say that? Okay, just one person, Carla. Okay, okay. So let's go to the next question. So now we know Dilnoza is leading. So let's see, is it true or false? Okay, great. Okay, let's see. Dilnoza is leading. So this is question three. What was the hashtag number one app on App Store in 2020? A bit tricky. Great. What was TikTok old name? Great. Okay, so Sophia is leading now. It's so interesting, as you can see the states. So who created Amazon 1994? This is the simplest question, I guess. Okay, great. So Sophia is leading now. Vine was discontinued in 2016 by Twitter. Is it true or false? Okay, so yeah, Sophia is leading. Who owns Facebook and Instagram? It's so easy. Okay, Sophia is still leading. So we are in eighth question. How old is Google? It's interesting. Okay, so yeah, experience Ishita. Ishita is now like leading. Which of these is not a space company? This is very easy. Okay, yeah, almost everyone. Sophia is leading. So we are in question number 10. Who was the face of Apple until 2011? Yeah, it was great. So Sophia is leading. Just two questions left. YouTube is owned by Google. Is that true or no? Of course, that is true. Okay, Sophia is still leading. Who is the CEO of Twitter? It's a bit tricky and it's a recent development. So don't answer just when you see like, yeah, no one, gave the right answer. Elon Musk is not no more CEO, after 23 October of 2023.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's a recent change. Okay, this is the last question. What is the parent company of Google? Okay, just three people. So yeah, third position holder is Maria. Great. Second position holder Hita. And first position holder,
Sophie.
great. Fourth, fifth, runner-ups Dilnoza and Aziza. So yeah, that's all for today, and I want to thank every one of you, that you joined, and especially our speaker because she shared like her valuable journey with everyone. So yeah, thank you so much, and stay blessed.
Thank you so much for inviting me. Thank you for attending everybody. And Fas is doing a really great job with the chapter. I'm so excited to look at the next events that you put up and hopefully attend them as well online. So thank you so much for having me.
Thank you, thank you, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.